y'all, it's Belle. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be recent reads, so 10 more books that I recently read. First, we'll start with The Thunder of Monsters by S.A. Patrick. It's the third book in the Songs of Magic series. I think it's the last one too, which makes me sad. But this is definitely one of my all-time favorite trilogies. This is so good. Just as epic and amazing as the first two. I can't even explain how happy I was to be back with these three friends in here. Such amazing characters. Wren, Barver, and Patch. All of the characters in the series are so incredibly written, even the bad guys. But these three friends, though, they're the biggest part of why they're a favorite for me. Then you add in the incredible writing, the plot, the story, and world building. It's just next level good. I can't say hardly anything since it is the third final book, but there's so many twists and turns in here and just wow moments, especially how it all came together, and that ending was so good. Very fast paced, race against the clock, high stakes, dangerous, thrilling adventure. So many imaginative and vivid aspects of this one, especially too with where we go with some of the characters and everything we see there. I love how the author had a recap of book one and book two, and then a recap in this one of both the previous books. That helps so much just because there's such a long time between book releases. So appreciated. I believe this is supposed to be the last one, but the way it ended, plus what the author hints in the acknowledgments, I feel like there has to be more in some way, at least connected to these. But don't worry, the ending has closure and it's very satisfying. It's just a little tease hint kind of thing. I definitely wouldn't complain if more came out related to this world and characters. Barver especially will always have my heart. Just phenomenal author, and I just need more from him. I just highly recommend. So good. I love this. And then I read The Impossible Girl by Ashley White, and this is out now. And Monarch Press sent me this, so thank you so much. It was a highly anticipated release, so I was so excited when they asked if they could send it for me to read and review. It was incredible. I cannot believe it's a debut. It is just so good. I loved everything about it. I love the magic system, this world, these characters, and the school. I love how it's more than just witches and warlocks too. There's vampires, werewolves, fairies, and merpeople who also attend. And I love Ava as a main character, even though she annoyed me a little throwing such a long fit about having to wear a dress. But I loved going on this self-discovery with her, discovering who she really is and where she belongs. So many things about her shouldn't be possible, so I love the whole impossible girl aspect. She made three super close friends right away. Duncan, who's a vampire, Tara, who's a witch, and Colin, who's a fairy. And I love their whole dynamic. They help her so much, and she helps them in return. Ava makes mistakes and tries to learn from them. The characters' friendship, superb imaginative writing with vivid story and world building, and so much more have made this one of my new top favorites. So many mythical creatures make an appearance in here too. That, along with the unique variety of magical beings that attend this school, the school itself, the Lost Ones, tryouts, and the assembly games themselves, Ambrose, Julian, and the whole mystery surrounding Ava herself, make for such an epic and enjoyable read. There's a heightened sense of danger as well, with people getting hurt and not knowing who is hurting people. And so there's a race against the clock feel as Ava tries to figure it out before anyone else gets hurt, which she thinks is happening because of her. Layla made my blood boil. I can't wait to hopefully see her get some humble pie served to her. This author can bring out all the emotions. These are full of friendship, danger, suspense, magic, bravery, imagination, loyalty, and so much heart. I cannot wait for the next book, especially considering this is the author's debut. I can't even comprehend how epically amazing that one will be after this one blowing me away. And I just highly recommend it. Loved it. And then I read the fourth in the Serafina series by Robert Beatty. Serafina and the Seven Stars. I think this is the final one out currently for the Serafina series. And I really love this one. There was an animal death, unfortunately, but not as bad on page as others in his Willa books have been. So, but it still bothered me, but I guess it wasn't as bad as what he's done in other books, so, as far as animal death. So that's something, I guess. As far as the story and the characters, all still so amazing. I love these characters so much and how far they have all come together and come themselves as individuals. Seraphina is getting older, and her internal struggles and feelings are a sign of that in a way, among other things. I love the mystery of this one and was actually blown away when the culprit was revealed. Just mind-blowing. The author's take on the darker parts of human nature and hunting, etc. in this were also incredibly written and thought-provoking. Was sad to only see Gideon briefly in this one, but he and Braden still have my heart. Nothing happened to him. He just wasn't in this one a lot. That would have been a very bad animal death, but he's fine. But he and Braden still have my heart. The ending had me all in the feels, loved it. Don't know if any more are going to come, but I hope so with this one, with Serafina. Though if he keeps the animal death thing up in his books, I might have to ask someone else who reads them first before I do. Other than that, I just really enjoyed. I read The Secret Summer by Ali Standish. And it also has a different cover and title. It's called, if you've read that one, it's called August Isle, but it's the same book, just different cover, different title. And I had read Yonder by this author, and that blew me away. And now this one by her has as well. This was phenomenal. I read the last 50% in one sitting, couldn't put it down. Highly atmospheric, amazing summer mystery story with family, secrets, friendships, and important issues at its core. Your heart breaks for Miranda because she carries so much on her shoulders she shouldn't. She remembers being very young and her mom loving her and always wanting to be with her. Then something changed, and she doesn't know why. Her mom stays gone on business trips and doesn't seem to want to be around her or even look at her. She thinks there must be something wrong with her, and she's the reason for her mom's unhappiness. She feels this is confirmed when she goes to August Isle to stay with her aunt, who's not really her aunt, but her mom's best friend, but she calls her aunt. And she sees all these pictures of her mom actually happy, because her mom spent summers there for August Isle. So she decides to try to be more like Sammy, Aunt Claire's daughter. Then maybe her mom will like her and stay around more. She also starts to uncover some of her mom's secrets and starts hearing strange cries from the haunted lighthouse and meets a strange and fascinating man that was thought dead. I wanted to shake some sense into Miranda's mom for what she was doing to her daughter emotionally and mentally. Miranda is such an endearing and relatable character, and you're rooting for her the whole way, whether when she's trying to be braver and try new things, trying to solve the mystery, or just speak her truth. I was just so proud of her. Amazing character growth and development. I absolutely love the friendship that formed between her and her cousin, Sammy, and also Caleb, who's a boy from Sammy's school. I love seeing Miranda realize that while others' lives may appear perfect or happy, etc., appearances are deceiving, and every family has problems, and every kid her age is dealing with something of their own as well at some point. Not only did her two friends help her over this time, she helped them too, I feel. I loved Mr. Taylor, and his house was amazing. I loved the three kids' time spent there, helping him organize his stuff in his house. I loved all of his stories he collected from strangers all over the world, along with one item to go with the story. I loved how, as Miranda is said to be typing his story into the computer, because he wants to make sure their stories last forever, so instead of just his written down, he wants them typed up and he wants to do something with them. So she's typing them for him. As she's doing that, it's written on page for us to read ourselves. Just added so much to the book, and every story he collected was so powerful and held an important message and lesson. Mr. Taylor always refused to share his own story, though, so even he was a mystery of stories. Then Betsy, his super sweet housekeeper, and her sweets she baked. Miranda herself wants to be a baker and made me hungry baking some pies in here as well. Then that adorable dog, Slug, and Mr. Taylor's hilarious bird, Sapphira. Beautiful flow to the story, amazing pace, and superb, descriptive, and at times beautiful writing. Never guessed what the mystery and secrets was going to be. Not even close. I had like a whole different idea. The way it all came together was just brilliant, and how little things over the story all clicked into place was just genius, and I had goosebumps. Amazing messages and lessons in here. For example, family, usually, are the people who love you regardless of your flaws and accept you for who you are. Also, don't change who you are for anyone, even family. One of my favorite quotes in here is, when you love someone, it's like giving away a piece of your heart to them. And if something happens to that person, it's like that piece of your heart gets smashed in a little bit. And I felt that. Highly recommend. Just love this. Okay, and then I read the second book in the Willa series by Robert Beatty, the author of the Serafina series, Willa of Dark Hollow. Well, I didn't read it. I DNF'd it, which I don't really do. The first Willa book had so much suffering, and then that horrible animal death. That was horrible timing, even more for me, but I was already so far into that one. And I wanted to see how it ended, but that one, oh, it messed with me. But this one I DNF'd on page 18 after another just horrific animal death, different kind of animal, but just awful to read. It messed me up for a while after reading that part. Before DNFing, since I already read that awful part anyway, I went to Goodreads to see if anyone mentioned more than one animal death, because if not, I would have considered finishing. But I got spoiled for the ending, but not mad, because the ending would have probably infuriated me, confused me, and left no satisfaction for an ending if what the reviews say are true, which I'm sure they are. I put this as a review on Goodreads for about 2 days with no rating, and then I took it off because I don't want it counted as a book read, since I didn't get past even 20 pages. It's just so people that follow my Goodreads get to see what I thought of it. if they were interested. I'm just so disappointed. Phenomenal writer, storyteller, world and story building, amazing characters and atmosphere out of this world. But I just can't read. I just can't with animals dying, and especially in the horrific way they're dying. So that's just a personal thing. Some people it might not bother, but because everything else is just phenomenal. But the animal, I just can't with animals. That's why one reason why I read middle grade. So I just can't. And then the ending would have just, no. So that's that. Then after reading Justice Jones, or A Girl Called Justice series, I moved on to the Poppy Pym by Laura Wood. And I read Poppy Pym and the Pharaoh's Curse. And I'm just loving all the detective style mystery middle grade I've been reading, and this one was no exception. I love this. It's just such engaging writing with the most endearing, lovable characters, including Poppy and her two new friends, Ingrid and Kip, as well as her incredible circus family. I'm just so in love. I love how this has the whole girl going into boarding school for the first time, where she solves mysteries with her new friends, but with the twist of said girl having grown up in a circus until this point. I don't like the circus unless there's no wild animals, and this one only has one wild animal, Buttercup the lion, but the way he's written and everything about it, he's just totally like a fantasy type expectation. So I'm fine with it, and they treat him like a member of the family. So I don't like that they have an animal in the circus, but just the way it's written, he's not like any lion ever. And so I still hope that it's explained to kids about the circus and stuff. But anyway, the circus is mostly these quirky, kooky people, and they're amazing. Buttercup, Luigi, Magnificent Marvin have my heart. While maybe an unusual family to some, these are some entertaining, lovely people, and Poppy has such love for them and they for her. It was also so charming experiencing school for the first time with Poppy and her trying to find her way in this new, very different life. Her making her first friends her age was so heartwarming. Best dynamic, and they made the best team. Great whodunit with a great cast of suspects and an ancient curse. Full of mystery, family, friendship, adventure, and a lot of heart. There's also great illustrations, maps, newspaper clippings, and more sprinkled throughout. Just highly recommend. And the map. And then also, when she has phone conversations with her family, if like you do like a read aloud with your kids, this is like a perfect read aloud book. And she even makes it, like she talks about her favorite mystery book she reads and how the author has the phone conversations as transcripts, and she wants to do that too because she's like, I really like that because then you and your friends can read them out loud in all the different voices. And so she's like, beginning of transcript, Pym, and then her, and then it goes through as like a transcript, and you can read them aloud with your kids and do different voices. So I thought that's pretty cool. And then I read Hurricamp by Steph, Katzovi, and Brown Books Kids that sent me this. Thank you very much. This is out now. And this was such a fun summer camp story, and I really had a great time with it. Noodle is a charming, relatable main character and is going through severe homesickness. Once she realizes she's in control of the experience she will have at camp and puts more of an effort into enjoying it, her cabin mates become friends who she bonds with through a change in camp counselors, power outage, a hurricane, hijinks, some that go right, some that go awry, and more. I've never been to camp, but this definitely gave me the feel of what it would be like. I love Noodle's journey on what she wants to do and who she wants to be at camp, and loved her character development. Great summer read, full of friendship, summer camp fun, finding yourself, and just those great memories we look back on from childhood. Just had a great time. And I loved, I think it was called Sisters of Luna Island. If I'm wrong, I'll edit it in here. I'm horrible at remembering names. By Stacy Hackney. And so I wanted to read her previous book, Forever Glimmer Creek. I need more. I'm just loving her books. This was amazing. I found this town, the town's people themselves, the miracles, and even the treasure part so fascinating. I love this cozy town so much with all the lovable people who live there. I loved each story of each different miracle we're told about. Such an interesting idea for a story. I love everything we learn about the miracles. It also just has so many amazing lessons, messages. There's also relatable issues like changing friendships, sick parents, absentee parent, a single parent, and also when that single parent tries to date, and more. Our main character, Rosie, has some incredible character growth throughout the book, and I was so proud of her when I finished this. She not only realized some of her faults concerning her mom and friends, she also came to realize what really matters and who in life. She also starts to accept that life changes. I didn't put this in my review because it would take forever to type and nobody probably would have cared, but she can probably get on some people's nerves, but I was that way, so I probably was annoying. Because when my stepdad, I've mentioned this before, they would fight and then he'd leave for a couple months and then come back. They did this often. A guy came around trying to date my mom, and my stepdad had been there since I was a baby, so it was like he was encroaching on my stepdad's territory, I guess, I don't know. And if I heard the couch creak, like if they shifted, they weren't doing anything, I would come in there. I was horrible to this guy. I just wanted him gone. And this is how Rosie is when her mom tries to date. And she seems like bratty and annoying, but that's how you are. And she doesn't have a dad around, but I don't want to spoil it, but she doesn't want, I know what she's feeling. I did the same thing. I was awful to this guy. So just remember that. I loved her friendship with Cam, and especially Henry. Like I said, though, such lovable townspeople, because all the side characters are written so well in here. Rosie's mom is just the best, though. The relationship and dialogue between her and Rosie were some of my favorite. When everything came together in the end, it gave me goosebumps. It wrapped up beautifully, and I absolutely loved everything about the ending. Book, hug-worthy book for sure. The miracles ended up having a deeper meaning and symbolism in a way to me after everything we learned, and it's just genius, really. The core of the story is family and also friendship. Also, all the yummy food mentioned throughout the book, recipes for all in the back. I love that. Yes, give me all the food. Highly recommend both her books, and I need more from her. Highly recommend. And then after finishing a longer series of Serafina, to go on to the next longer series that I've been trying to do, the Murder Most Unladylike mystery series by Robin Stevens. And I read the UK edition. I also have the US edition, which I love as well. Since I read this one, I'll hold it up. Historical fiction, check. Boarding school, check. Mystery, whodunit, check. Detective sleuthing style, check. Humor, check. Superb writing, check. Love this. I'm so happy I'm finally reading these. Hazel is an amazing main character to read from. Hazel is also a diverse character, being somewhat overweight, I believe she's described as. And it's nice to see not every main character described as always being so skinny when they are described, because they're not always describing their physical appearance. And she is also Asian, and there are quite a few times throughout the book where being Asian was used as basically an insult by these other girls against her, plus many racist remarks just said straight out. It had me fuming. But I appreciated the author being honest to this time period in the 1930s and showing what a situation similar to this would have been like for a real-life Hazel at that time. She doesn't gloss over it. Like a quote I say a lot, those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. I feel the same about people who would rather gloss over it all and have none of those things in the book, even though it's true to the time. That would have made me angry. So bravo to the author. It's not dealt with because they all have those racist thoughts and they have those ideas about people from Hong Kong or anyone that's different from them, but it's dealt with in the fact Hazel, her feelings, how she feels inside, and she says what people say and think and what it's done to her and how it makes her feel. So that lets kids know that it's wrong, because the kids doing it, they're not gonna all of a sudden say, oh, this is wrong, because this is how they feel, this is how they've been raised, this is how the hate they've been taught. But by showing Hazel and what she feels and her emotions and what it does to her, it shows you that it's wrong. I think if I was a parent, I would also appreciate it in that way too, because it opens the door for those hard but important conversations, because I don't think those conversations are being had with enough kids, because it starts at home, hate does. And so you need to have these conversations so they know, okay, you see how it's making her feel? This is why. This is why this is wrong. This is why you don't do this to people. This is why, it's just, because the sad part is much of this hate still goes on today, which is why these conversations are so important. Anyway, Daisy also really annoyed me. She does have some growth towards the end, though. I think Hazel is teaching her what a friendship is supposed to look like, because I don't think Daisy has ever actually had a real friend before Hazel. So she treats Hazel how she treats everyone at first, which isn't very well, and definitely not as an equal. But by the end, you see her start to view Hazel as exactly that, because Hazel sees Daisy. Like when she is saying how she first met Daisy, what she sees Daisy. Everybody else sees what Daisy wants them to see. Like this portrayal of herself she wants them to see. But Hazel sees through that and sees Daisy. And I'm sure at some level that helps her see her as an equal, and she appreciates it and all that. So she still has a way to go to be a great friend. But that's only realistic, which I also appreciate. She doesn't just all of a sudden change. Daisy being like this at first also made Hazel find her voice and her strength to say her truth and stick up for herself. And I was proud of both girls, but especially Hazel. Also, the thing about Daisy is, even though she can be quite horrible, she is fascinating to read about. Her character is written superbly. Even though she seems awful, the author makes you understand how these girls all want to be friends with her and be like her. It's crazy. It's genius. So atmospheric as well. This school especially is the best, even while not being the best. I just can't explain it. Then the quirky, some quite kooky, and amazing side characters, and the list of suspects, love them all. Perfect pace and flow with clues sprinkled about at all the perfect points. When it all came together, I gasped along with them. The end was phenomenal. Behind the curtain, loved it. Felt like I was watching it play out on TV. Highly recommend. And then I read This Appearing House by Ali Malinenko. And HarperCollins had sent me this. So thank you so much. This is one of my most highly anticipated releases. I absolutely love Ghost Girl. Cannot wait for this. This was phenomenal. Extremely atmospheric, spooky, creepy read, while at the same time managing to be deeply moving. I think not only will people who have dealt with cancer or illness themselves relate to this, but people who have watched loved ones go through it, or even anyone that has had something break them in some way. Like me, the way Jack's mom is in here over her is how I was over my pup from the moment she first got sick until she just passed in June, so 3.5 years. Constant state of worry, seeing something possibly worrisome in everything. The world stopping every time you waited on results to see she was still in remission, if she was still okay with everything. And people can say it's just a dog and you can't compare, but love is love, and that round love is deep, and you've obviously never had the love of a dog, or didn't appreciate it if you did, if you feel that way. Anyway, reading this at this time in my own grief felt almost meant to be. The book gives hope too and has some great messages. The only way out is through. To get on the other side of anything, you have to get through it. It's okay to be angry at the cards dealt to you, and that means kids have this exact same right to be angry. And anger can be good in certain ways. We are all haunted by something at some time or another in our lives, but in the end, the choice is ours. If we want to let those feelings continue to follow us, change us, scare us, haunt us. And the walls we build to protect ourselves only end up trapping us. It's not as easy as it sounds, and I know, with a brain like mine that seems to not like me, it is not easy. The whole idea of this house and everything inside, every incredible vivid detail to the writing and the way the author makes an exceptionally creepy story has such a deeper meaning at its core, all make for a fast-paced, emotional, spooky, thrilling, atmospheric, hauntingly beautiful read. I also loved Hazel. He is the best kid, and I was so happy Jack had a friend like him. This came out this past week, and I highly recommend. I cannot wait for more middle grade in the future from this author. It's so good. Alright, y'all, that's it for this video. Have you read any of these? Did you like them? Did you not? Did you see any that you want to read now? Let me know in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you would like to subscribe, I would love that if you'd like to. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.